Just so you know a bit about me, I have a master's degree in software engineering and I'm currently working as a DevOps technologist in Bangalore, India. My skill set primarily involves application performance management, which include both enterprise and open source tools. In terms of enterprise, I've worked on multiple tools, including Datadog, AppDynamics, New Relic, Splunk, and many other tools. Open source, I've worked on setting up Prometheus, Grafana, Alert Manager, Thanos, Cortex, Elastic Stack, and I also have scripting knowledge with Python, which is derived, which I'll be primarily using in setting up synthetic scripts for the enterprise tools or any of the components. In terms of container technologies, I have worked on Docker, Cloud Foundry, Kubernetes, and DevOps tools. I used implemented the monitoring solutions using GitHub, and also I've used Jira for tracking the changes. Cloud infrastructure, I have experience in setting up applications in AWS, and my domain experience include insurance, banking, telecom, e-commerce, chemical, media in terms of any media platforms that require monitoring solutions to be implemented. In this demo, we'll be exploring the powerful features of New Relic, a comprehensive observability platform that provides real-time insights into the health and performance of your applications and infrastructure. With MindMajix as a skill partner, we are excited to show you how to get the most out of New Relic, including monitoring, troubleshooting, alerting, reporting, and analysis. Our goal is to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of how New Relic can help you proactively monitor and manage your systems, ensuring the reliability, availability, and performance of your applications. Whether you're a developer, IT professional, or a business owner, this course will help you with the tools and insights you need to optimize the performance of your systems and improve the user experience. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of New Relic with MindMajix. Within this course, within this course demo outline, we'll be going through this topics that would include application performance management, introduction into New Relic, how do we set up New Relic, how we can effectively use New Relic to monitor the applications and troubleshooting the applications if any issue occurs that is using New Relic, and set up alerts and notifications whenever an issue occurs and the right notification channels, be it Slack, email, or PagerDuty to send to respective application owners. Reporting and analysis would include setting up custom dashboards, analyze trends via those custom dashboards, and set up uh, PDF reporting for the clients who are the application owners for those applications. And in conclusion, we'll derive the best practices that can be used to use New Relic effectively. So, what is application performance management? Application performance management is a practice of monitoring and managing the performance of your application, availability, and of your application and availability of your software applications. APM is all about ensuring the applications are performing as expected and that they are meeting the needs of the end users. By monitoring key metrics such as response time, throughput, error rates, and more, you can identify and resolve issues faster than any normal log analysis that an individual human can do. Application performance management is basically the translation of IT metrics into a business meaning. For example, let's take, for example, an e-commerce application, which should say, I am an end user for that e-commerce application and I'm logging into that application. I'm buying a product, I'm adding it to cart, I'm doing a checkout, I'm doing a payment. Those are all individual transactions which are converted into individual business meanings. So as an end user, if the transaction that I do, like login and checkout, and the tools like New Relic, what it does is it captures individual metrics for those transactions, which we can further derive into what is the response time taken for that particular transaction, what is the errors, if at all, if it occurs when that particular transaction was done by an end user. It's also a practice to monitor application insights so we can improve the performance of the application. You improve end user experience in terms of, was I a satisfied end user when I was logging into that application and doing those individual transactions of buying a product. Also, using tools like New Relic, which basically whose primary product is application performance management, we can reduce errors, issues, and trigger alerts or with respect to thresholds whenever they occur. How is application monitoring performed? Say, for example, we have an e-commerce application that is running on a Windows host. What application performance management tools does is it has a plugin or an agent that would be running within the host where the application is running, and the agent will post logs, traces, metrics, and events for that particular application, using which we can perform trends, we can get performance trends at a glance, get insights from an user perspective in terms of, was I a satisfied user or a dissatisfied user. We can also do root cause analysis. If at all, if any incident or an issue occurs, we can generate alerts on anomalies in terms of, say, I don't want a CPU utilization to go more than 95 or 90%, and based on which an alert needs to be triggered. We can also track individual SQL statements. Say an application is making a database call to fetch a particular parameter, and a call is supposed to the database is supposed to return the output for that particular call, and we can track it using application performance management tools like New Relic. It also gives us code level diagnostics in terms of, say, earlier I explained an example of a login transaction or a checkout transaction. When I am an end user, I am doing that transaction. Tools like New Relic, what it does is it captures code level diagnostics in terms of which class and method, or the code with respect to, be it Java, .NET, we can capture the class level or method level details for those particular transaction and further diagnose in terms of which class and method took the maximum time, or which class and method is causing an issue with respect to that particular transaction. Introduction into New Relic. Yep, we come into the actual topic here. New Relic is a cloud-based software analytics company that provides monitoring, observability, and optimization solutions for software applications. The company was founded in 2008 and is headed in San Francisco, California. New Relic offers a variety of products and services designed to help improve the performance and reliability of software applications. And these would include application performance monitoring, which is a New Relic's flagship product, which provides real-time performance and analysis for web, mobile, and other types of applications. Infrastructure monitoring allows us to monitor the health and performance of infrastructure, including servers, containers, and cloud-based environments. Browser monitoring helps us understand the performance of the website or web applications from an end user perspective, which includes helps us understanding getting metrics like page load time, errors, or JavaScript errors, and much more. Synthetic monitoring is stimulating end user transactions for the website or the application that we monitor to identify potential issues before they impact the real users. Synthetic monitoring, again, it's kind of like a bot which does robotic transactions for a particular website. It would be primarily written in Python script, wherein it's similar to a performance testing or which that can be done with load runner. But in terms of this one, we can create alerts if that particular website transactions are not performing optimally. Say, for example, before a Monday morning peak time, if our application is not running optimally before end users log into that particular application and do performance do transactions for this particular for the within that particular application, it would cause a big hazard in terms of loss to the particular company that runs that application. So using the features like synthetic, we can run stimulate your end user transactions, and which gives us metrics as in terms of whether that application is running fine before an actual end user logs into that application. Mobile monitoring provides monitoring and error reporting for mobile apps on iOS and Android platforms. Log management helps us collect, store, and analyze logs from your applications and infrastructure. New Relic products are designed to help improve the company's software development and delivery process, which helps in reducing downtime, errors, and optimize their applications. See, in this diagram that we see over here, the left side is where the application is running within a host, and the right side is all the New Relic components or to where the agent posts the matrices to. Within the host, we see over here a different set of agent called infrastructure agent, which fetches matrices like CPU, CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk input output, or the disk space used. So such kind of matrices would be fetched using the infrastructure agent, which would also include a log forwarder, which fetches the metrics in terms of the logs for that particular application that is captured within the system. APM agents, depending on the flavor of the application, be it Java, .NET, Node.js, PHP, Ruby, or any of the current flavors of the application, an application performance monitoring agent will be installed within the server and configured to monitor that particular application that using instrumentation called bytecode instrumentation. The agents, whatever matrices it captures, it sends the matrices to New Relic. APM agents also captures something called as traces. Traces means it captures an application would be making calls to different services within it, and the call to different services can be trapped using captured using traces. That's also can be visible using a feature called service map, and the logs also directly sent to the New Relic. An admin or an user of New Relic can log into New Relic and capture these metrics, create custom dashboards, create alerts whenever there's a breach in this in the metrics. Say, for example, if we are capturing CPU utilization and the metrics is captured by New Relic and that is sent by the agents, using New Relic, we can set up thresholds for whenever those alerts are breached and send right notifications to respective channels, either Slack, PagerDuty, emails, and depending on the client requirement. Setting up New Relic is as easy as clicking on the New Relic website, selecting for a free trial, or depending on the type of monitoring required, we can also go for a paid subscription from the New Relic website. Once the free trial account or the paid subscription account is created, we will be getting access to the New Relic SaaS platform, which from where we can download the respective agents. Coming back to agents, we have a New Relic. There are different types of agents for each kind of monitoring that we'll be doing. For infrastructure, there's a separate set of agent called infrastructure agent. For application, there's an APM application performance monitoring agent. That again depends on the flavor of the application. Uh, we can download the New Relic agent from the SaaS New Relic platform and install the agent within the host where the application is running. Once the agent is installed, for example, if I'm creating an application monitoring agent, I'm installing an application monitoring agent, in the configuration section, we'll be primarily need to give the application name. So the same would be reflecting that in the New Relic UI, for better debugging or better identifying the issue. And we have to enable transaction tracing, error reporting, and custom instrumentation in terms of if there's a particular critical transaction that needs to be captured. We can also create custom instrumentation while configuring the agent. Once the agent is installed, it will send matrices to New Relic, and within the New Relic, there would be users or admins or application owners who will be viewing those metrics via New Relic and creating their own respective metrics, creating alerts or dashboards for the same. Monitoring with New Relic provides a comprehensive suite of monitoring tools that can help you gain visibility into the performance and health of your software applications and infrastructure. With monitoring of New Relic, coming back to application performance monitoring, New Relic's application performance monitoring tools allow us to monitor the performance of your applications in real time. We can see detailed metrics on response time, errors, throughput, and more. Response time is the time taken for a particular transaction to load successfully and how much time it took for that transaction to be successful. And if there is an issue for, let's say, for example, a normal login transaction should be successful within, say, 1 second or 2 seconds, but the actual transaction time is taking more than 5 seconds. That is an issue, something that is happening from the application side, or it's an issue at the infrastructure that is causing this application to downgrade. Infrastructure monitoring, again using New Relic, allows us to monitor the health and performance of our application servers, containers, and cloud-based environment. New Relic using New Relic, we can see metrics like CPU, memory, disk output, network input traffic, and many more. We can also set up alerts and thresholds whenever those alerts, the metrics alerts are breached. In terms of here, we can also monitor those infrastructures like, say, containers. Individual containers can be monitored that are running within the host. Using Kubernetes cluster can be monitored. AWS resource monitoring can also be enabled. As AWS resource monitoring also goes both ways. One is we can monitor by placing an agent, or we can integrate it with new AWS CloudWatch and fetch the metrics directly from CloudWatch also and visualize the same within the New Relic. Troubleshooting with New Relic, using these are below parameters primarily an SME from New Relic would look into whenever an issue occurs. That is primarily looking into investigating on performance issues. We can use New Relic to analyze various metrics such as response time, throughput, and error rates, if at all, when we see an issue is happening for a particular application. We can check the overall performance of the application that is derived from the configuration I told earlier. When installing an agent, we'll be giving a name for that particular application, and the same would be reflecting in the New Relic UI. We can identify bottlenecks in terms of why an issue has occurred. Using New Relic, we can use application monitoring, performance monitoring, trace transaction traces to to drill down into the performance of individual transactions. Here, wherein we can see which components is taking the most time and identify the bottlenecks in the application stack. Analyze database queries. We can use the APM database tab to analyze the performance of database queries and look for queries that are slow, inefficient, that may be causing performance issues. Analyzing error rates using New Relic, we can identify the frequency and the type of error rates that are occurring within the application and identify the problem. Monitor error rates is using New Relic APM error analytics dashboard to monitor we can monitor the frequency and the type of errors occurring in the application. We can also see which errors are occurring most frequently and identify patterns. Analyze stack traces. Using the APM errors tab in New Relic, we can see a detailed information about individual errors, including the stack trees and environment variables. This can help us identify the root cause and take corrective actions. So based on the errors that's been identified, we can set up alerts to notify the respective application owners or the operations team that handles these errors. We can start also diagnosing the problems within individual transactions. Say, for example, like I told, a checkout transaction is having an issue. We can trace the checkout transaction from within the application New Relic UI, log into that, go into that particular application, and trace the transaction flow with respect to seeing where all the transaction checkout transaction has traced through. We can analyze the trace data using a custom dashboard or using the service map feature of New Relic. We can also compare the traces in terms of going into different timelines and seeing where an issue is happening with respect to that particular individual transaction and take action in terms of setting up alerts. Coming back to the main and actual feature of New Relic, that is setting up alerts and notifications based on the matrices that New Relic has captured. Configuring alerts can be configured based on the matrices. Say, for example, I'm creating a New Relic alert for CPU utilization of the e-commerce application server that I'm monitoring. While creating the CPU utilization alert, I'll be setting up a threshold for warning as 85 and critical alerting threshold for 90. So whenever the threshold is breached and it started at 85, whether this host server has reached a CPU utilization of 85%, an alert will be triggered saying a warning alert that will be triggered to the respective channels or the application owners. And whenever it reaches 95%, it will be sent as critical. So the feature of setting up both warning and critical is useful in terms of we can mitigate the issue at the warning stage itself and not allow the application server to reach 95%. There are different application metrics that can be used. So one is for application performance monitoring metrics that would include response time, error rates, the throughput, how many calls per minute has happened. Infrastructure metrics again would include CPU, memory, disk utilization, more. Again, coming back to synthetics and mobile, it would include the page load time, the JavaScript errors for that particular application. It's based on which, by setting up thresholds, an alert notification can be triggered. So if using New Relic, we can set up multiple we can set up notification channels like email, Slack, SMS, PagerDuty, webhooks. These needs to be integrated or enabled within the New Relic to send alerting via these respective channels. Responding to alerts, we can also set up escalation policies so that if an alert is not acknowledged or resolved within a certain period of time, it can be escalated to a higher level of support. One is we can also use the New Relic feature for this. Also, we have the option of integrating it with ServiceNow, which is an incident management tool which triggers and which when New Relic triggers an incident, it will be integrated in its integrated incident message will also be sent out via a snow to the respective assignment group or the on-call person who works on those issues. Reporting and analysis. New Relic has a nice feature of reporting and analysis wherein we can generate reports, analyze trends, and identify areas of improvement. New Relic has pre-built-in dashboards that can be used out of the box, or we can create custom dashboards based on the client-specific needs. Analyzing trends. We can analyze trends over a period of time and identify areas of improvement and track progress. Analyzing trends can be primarily, say, for example, there's the performance testing team that does the performance testing for an application and does a version-based upgrade for that particular application. And they are doing tests every week or so. And say they have done a test last week and captured those results in a particular custom dashboard. And they are doing another round of tests this week uh, for the same number of parameters, but of upgraded version. And while after running this test, the performance testing team can visualize the changes in this application for the version upgrade in terms of was there any issues with CPU being high when the testing was done, or was there any application in terms of high response time being happening within the application for this current version upgrade, or if there is any memory utilization, or if there is any JVM related issues like JVM heap utilization going high or the garbage collection not happening. So these trends can be captured and analyzed over a period of time. So for a better upgrade for their application. Once the issues are identified, we need to identify what slow transactions are happening and optimize the code to improve performance. We need to identify what are the error rates and diagnose and fix those issues. Monitor infrastructure performance to identify bottlenecks in terms of why the CPU utilization is going high or why the memory is going high. Also, we can track user engagement in terms of for each transaction was a transaction satisfied for a particular user, or does it needs improvement. Coming to the conclusion, in conclusion, we will see in during the course in partnership with MindMajix, which helps us to gain real-time insights into the performance of their application. With its comprehensive set of features, New Relic includes application performance monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, browser monitoring, and mobile monitoring, error reporting, and much more. Also, we'll be seeing how New Relic monitoring and troubleshooting allows us to identify and resolve issues and reducing downtime and improving the user experience. We'll also see how New Relic's alerting and notification system that allows us to set up alerts based on various needs and events, ensuring that uh, the end user is notified of issues before it impacts the application. With the reporting and analysis, we'll see how we can gain insights and into the behavior of the system, identify trends and patterns, and take action and optimize the code. Optimize the code whether it's a small startup or a large enterprise, New Relic can help us provide the tools and insights to ensure reliability, availability, and performance of the system. Some of the tips to use New Relic effectively would be to set up alerts, create custom dashboards for that application, monitor critical transaction, collaborate with the teams, keep up to date with the New Relic updates, new features that it releases. Best practices would be to monitor performance proactively and not reactively, monitor end-to-end transactions, diagnose issues quickly, collaborate with teams. Say there are multiple teams, that is database team, the infrastructure monitoring team, the application team that creates that application. Continuously optimize the performance of the application using New Relic. Troubleshooting features again is same. It involves monitoring the slow response time of individual transactions whenever the issue occurs, capture, hide, visualize the hide error rate transactions from the error transaction page, capture those infrastructure issues and set up alerts. Synthetic failures as the primary one, like I've given an example at the starting of this demo that I'm an end user. Before an end user logs in before during the peak hours of Monday morning, we can create synthetic testing within the New Relic and see if there are any failures for that particular application. Some of the projects that will be working during the course would be, say, setting up Java application monitoring. Application dependency mapping is again tracking the flow of a particular transaction from, say, an application call is being made to a database and how much time it took for the database to respond back. Error monitoring in terms of how to monitor, how to do a root cause analysis whenever an issue occurs, and how to set up alerts for that whenever the same issue occurs, the team is notified and resolves that issue before it impacts the application. How to set up log monitoring. These are some of the projects that we'll be delving into when we start the course. The lab setup would include to follow this course. Let's go over the prerequisites and system requirements for this lab. You'll need basic proficiency with Windows UI and Linux, as well as Docker and Git installed on the operating system you'll be using. It's also fine. We can install it. I can explain if you don't know how to install Docker or Git. It doesn't take more than half an hour to set up that, and we can use it rightly during the course tenure. In addition, it's important to note that New Relic agent run requires a running kernel version of 2.6.32 or later and network connectivity with firewall rules allowing outgoing traffic on port 443. For system requirements, if you're using Windows, you will need a faster processor of 1.6 gigahertz or faster, a dual core operating system with Windows 10, 11, or 8. You'll need a minimum of 4 GB of RAM and 30 GB of hard disk space. If you'll be using Linux, you'll need a minimum of 512 MB of memory and one core of CPU. With these prerequisites and system requirements in mind, we will be ready to get started with setting up New Relic agents during the course. For additional course resources, we can log into the New Relic documentation website and look into the getting started wizard to just get to know of the components that New Relic uses to set up monitoring. Mock interview questions would include, say, can you explain what is what New Relic does and how does it benefit businesses? How do you troubleshoot a performance issue within a web application? How do you implement New Relic in a production environment? What is your experience with setting up alerts and dashboards in New Relic? Can you explain how distributed transaction works in New Relic? After attending this course, one can easily plan for the below certifications offered by New Relic's Learning Center. That would include New Relic Certified Performance Pro, New Relic Certified Performance Engineer, New Relic Certified Reliability Engineer.